Hello and welcome to Wisdom Sale. I'm Carlito and this is Dauros. Today we'll be discussing player engagement.
Dauros rambles about P&P RPGs featuring spiritual guidance from Carlito. It's
Wisdom Save!
So then, what did we talk about last time, Dauros?
Well, we covered sort of the broad strokes, the theme of a campaign. Establishing that and getting it to where you want and feel comfortable running.
As a DM, right?
Yes.
Right. So how does that play into this week?
Well, this week I'm working with a world with draconic overlords, so to sort of assert that power, we're going to use a theme of relocation, which both establishes the dragons as being sort of maniacal people that view mortals as little more than pawns, and it also puts the players in a situation that should probably get them emotional and upset.
Right. Gives them some motivation.
Yeah, we're putting them on a boat and sending them sailing off into essentially the more wasteland parts of the world. They're racked by storms, they're really cold, cannibals live there, that sort of thing.
The central of the storm we talked about last time, right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So then how does that motivate them as individual players?
Well, think about it from a personal standpoint. If you were in a nice town and got thrown in a sack and thrown on a ship and taken to, let's say, pre-Berlin Wall Balkan states, you'd be kind of miffed, wouldn't you?
I mean, a little, yeah.
Yeah, so
I miss football.
this sort of establishes motivations for the players. Maybe they'll be upset, they'll want revenge, maybe they just want to get home, maybe they want to improve it, maybe they want to make a glorious paradise in what should otherwise be not.
So it's kind of like when you have a PC in a video game and you have to choose a faction based on how that character thinks.
Yeah, but in a way you're almost kind of developing your factions. It's like grassroots factioning.
Okay, so there's not really anything there and you build from it. So you develop your character more that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are indigenous folk, but their motivations aren't more than basic survival.
Right, because it's so low tier. So then how do you keep your players engaged in their motivations and ambitions?
Well, there are actually a few ways of doing it. Firstly, obviously the dragons are authoritarian dicks.
Right.
So they will do what could be construed as random acts of bullying, which will get players' ire up. As you will learn DMing, players tend to sort of view themselves as a cut above the rest, so when they get pushed around, they tend to not take kindly to it.
They're the adventurers as opposed to NPCs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're supposed to be important.
Shopkeepers are the ones you make fun of. Players in the tavern are the ones to be respected.
Right, whereas you're giving them someone to be afraid of here, or have to listen to, which kind of pisses them off as players.
Yeah, exactly. So that makes them want to rebel against that.
Right.
Secondly, resource scarcity. They're landing on an island that doesn't have a lot of food. It doesn't have a lot of intrinsic wealth. So the players are sort of forced to develop, if for nothing else than for their own survival. So they need to secure food, which is something that you can then plan for as a DM.
Right. Does that also affect equipment?
Actually, in this case, yes. I had the players start without any sort of equipment. That was one of the stipulations of this starting thing.
Oh, wow.
They could smuggle in a small item with a sleight of hand check, and that was it.
Smuggle it in where?
I had them roll the die, I didn't have them describe it.
Okay, good.
This actually gets to my third point. You can always sort of use the party dynamic against them. I actually had a player come in late to my specific game who wanted to play and required an item for their class to function. I said, well, I'll cut you a deal. You can actually start with some equipment if you're okay with starting on the island as sort of being a servant to this draconic lord already.
Gotcha, okay.
And additionally, this draconic lord actually had supplies squirreled away there. So like some daggers, short swords, some armor, food supplies, that sort of thing. So it kind of plays both into using the party and also saying, hey, you guys don't want to starve, right? You should join up with this person.
So then how do you as a DM discover those ambitions?
One of the greatest tools at your disposal, the NPC.
Not free food?
No. Although free food sometimes can be a lure for players.
But this is online, so
So essentially you have your players bouncing their ideas off various levels of nobility, let's call them, from the draconic overlords on the ship who view them as pathetic mortals,
Cattle.
yeah, down to the kobold slaves who are essentially bottom rung people pleasers.
Right.
And then, of course, the in-between people that are also packed away with them on the ship. So, you use the...
No, that's... Where are you going with that?
Well, okay, so they talk to the dragons. The dragons say things like, "You're a proxy, serve me." Do the players respond to that? How do they respond to that?
Okay, so now you can see their attitudes and their ideas based on how they respond to different levels of power.
Yeah, you sort of feel out their motivations. What about when people in their same situation say, "Hey, help me out here," or "It's scary, I want to go home."
Yeah.
In the case of a 4-year-old girl that the party has picked up,
Kiwi?
yes, her name is Kiwi, and the witch in the group has sort of taken her under her wing.
Now, did she, like, lose her parents?
The relocation is essentially they draw up a barrier on a city block and take whoever's in that block and throw them on a ship. Kiwi's parents were on the other side of the division.
Oh, that sucks. And is actually a pretty good motivator.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense now.
And then the kobolds who want to do everything to please the dragons, how do the players respond to that? Is it scorn? Is it pity? Like, do they want to liberate the kobolds maybe? Or are they disgusted with them? It allows you to sort of feel out your players' motivations without just sitting down and going, what drives your character?
Without making them write a very short history or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's much more creative. So we spoke about factions earlier. Has that come up at all?
Yeah, that's actually another way to develop character motivations, because you can sort of divine how they feel about, say, taking lives or abusing others in the ways to meet goals.
Right.
So in this situation, the island they're landing on, in the southern part that they're on, is going to have 2 large factions. One is going to be a tribe of cannibals led by a dragon named Dauros, who essentially is very content just to be a petty tyrant over cannibals.
He's just happy to lead little people.
Yeah, he probably has a higher up that he sucks up to, but he doesn't aspire to much more than that. Sort of a lick-spittle dragon, if you will.
Right.
And then the second faction is a group of undead led by a single undead lord named Akigur.
Is he undead or undead
Yes.
dragon? Or okay.
No dragons involved there, although again he could have an employer who is a dragon.
That makes sense. He's just an undead lord, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by having 2 factions, it sort of gives your players some leeway. If you give just one faction, it's sort of, well, we're against them.
Right.
But if you have 2, they can say, well, we're going to try and fight 2, we're going to try to play them off each other.
Right. Because you always kind of want to power battle off one another.
Exactly.
Makes you feel smart
It-
as a player.
This way you can see how the players want to work. Do they want to just develop military and try and crush these factions, or do they want to, kind of play the politics game and get out more bloodlessly?
Right. Makes sense to me. Especially if you're not playing a battle character.
Exactly.
So then, what are we going to be talking about next time on Wisdom Save?
Well, next time we're going to get into the first combat of the session when they land on the island. We're going to include sort of the steps I took to try and make the combat interesting, where essentially they landed, like the geographic situation there and how I expect that to mold their actions and what I should expect as a DM. And then finally, sort of the base building element of the game, because as they're essentially serving a dragon, they have to start a base of power.
Neat. In this sad little area that they've been pushed to.
To start with, at least.
Okay. And then we'll see from there as characters what they decide.
Yes.
Okay, I like that idea. So make sure you like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Check out our other stuff, and we have lots of social media, Facebook, Twitter, maybe an Instagram if we don't. We need to fix that. And you can find us on Twitch. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are our streaming days. You can see the actual schedule on Twitch itself. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you again on Wisdom Save.
Bye.
Bye.